All right, welcome back. So, if change is inevitable, why is it so damn hard, right? Whether the change happens to us or we choose that change, it still leaves us feeling insecure, right? Leaves us feeling out of whack. And it can generally suck. But avoiding change keeps us in that stuck space, and embracing it brings opportunity, it brings a more rewarding life, it brings a growing business, and it brings a deeper impact on the things that we care about. So today we are going to be talking about how we can embrace change with confidence and be the badass that you are, right? So welcome back to the Impact in Action live show, where we talk about mindset shifts and tactical approaches to put your impact into action. Now, I am your host, your guide, your, human here walking you through. My name is Maryann Lombardi. I'm the CEO of Maryann Lombardi Coaching, and I work with women and non-binary entrepreneurs specifically to help them build wealth and independence by ditching the work-life balance lie, so that they can build a business that's in alignment with the life that they choose to live. So here's the deal. This thing, our noggin right here, our brain wants us to be safe. It wants us to be safe, stable. It wants us to be secure. And when it perceives that we are not those things, it goes into protection mode, right? It feels threatened. And when it feels threatened, it's going to fight, it's going to freeze, or it's going to flee. Okay. And it does that to protect that stability, right? And by extension, to avoid change. So our brains are not wired to embrace change. They're not wired to embrace risk, right? They're hardwired actually in our operating system based on eons of surviving, right? Harsh living, right? Where risk and change could get you killed. Now, most of us are not living in, hunter-gatherer societies that are surviving the wild, but our brains don't necessarily know that all the time. And this is important because it reminds us that change is hard for a reason. So you are not broken because you resist change. There is nothing wrong with you if you hesitate to upend your life or your environment to do something new, right? Your life is full of patterns and people and activities that provide you that sense of comfort, right? And stability. So they provide you that sense of safety that your brain wants. But if we only seek that safety of what we know, we don't grow, and we don't get all of those things, that opportunity. We don't get that rewarding life, that growing business, that deeper impact on the things that we care about. So those things don't happen if we don't change. So we're going to unpack 3 essential steps for how we can embrace that change. And the first step is we got to name it, right? We've got to name that change. Right? Naming it is choosing it, right? So be proactive and think about the areas in your life, in your business that need to change, and name them, choose them, right? Like maybe you want to drink less coffee. I don't know. Maybe you want to reduce your hours at your work. Maybe you want to stop thinking about it and finally launch that business that you've been dreaming about. Or maybe you want to ditch your inattentive and asshole of a partner. I don't know. But whatever it is, there is power in the act of naming what you want to change before even doing anything about it, right? Just the naming it puts the thought in your mind and allows you to start processing what that change might be like, right? What it might feel like. And this is important in the change you choose, right? But it is vital when you're dealing with change that you do not choose, right? Because sometimes change happens to us and sometimes we are choosing that change. So for example, if you lose your job, or someone breaks up with you, or you unexpectedly become allergic to tacos or something like that, now that would be awful, okay? That I don't know how I would handle that, but that would be awful. But naming these situations is a method for acceptance, is a method for understanding, and it is an opportunity to own what is happening. When you own it, you can develop a plan for managing and adapting it. So change is inevitable. We hear that all the time. Change is inevitable, right? It's going to happen. It happens with us. It happens without us. And naming it gives it power and ownership over that process. It gives you power and ownership over the process. So It's also important to note that not naming anything, meaning not taking any choice, is a choice, right? When you do nothing, when you acknowledge nothing, when you see nothing, you name nothing, that is a choice. And there is an impact on your life to that choice as well. So the first step is naming it. The second step of this is to control the change, right? Like to take control of that change. Because the truth is, you have less control than you think you do, but you have more control than often you use. So you have the power to direct the change that you choose, and you have the power to shape the change that chooses you. So go do it, right? You are not powerless in either of those situations. So directing and shaping the change, right, allows you ownership. It allows you a level of autonomy. And the key is identifying what you can control and what you can't control. And then letting those things you can control let go, just letting them go. Because we waste an enormous amount of time and emotional energy beating our head against a wall trying to control people and things and like actions that are just not in our power to impact. So that time and that energy that you're spending there is costing you dearly. So I have a pretty good experience with control issues. So when my control issues kind of rear their temperamental head, as it were, or I start to try to control everything, and usually that's coming either from some sort of anxiety or fear, I will stop myself and I'll go back to the basics and I will write down what I can and what I can't control. Okay. And at the top, like I actually have a worksheet that I use, which you can have access to. We'll put it in the show, comments and the show notes and stuff. But the top, I write down what I want, right? Like what is the thing that I'm trying to do, the thing that I'm trying to impact, right? And then next, I list all the things that could be done to accomplish what I'm trying to do, right? And after that, then I look at that list and I rewrite all the things that could be done that are in my power to do, right? Things that I have the skills, I have the access, or I have the ability to do. And then I'll go through that list, that second list, and ask myself, out of all those items that I have the power to control, to do something about, what am I willing to do to get what I want? Because just because you have the power to do something doesn't necessarily mean you're willing to do that thing. So this process is something that helps me visualize um, uh, me navigating this whole what I can and what I can't control. It's sort of like a reference to manage my control. So you can try it out sometimes and let me know how it works. So the third thing to do in embracing change is to take action, right? Because in order to direct or shape the change you are making or the experiences that you're having, you got to do something. You need to take action. Yeah, it's important to think about the change that's happening and even plan for change, but it's imperative to do something about it because only planning and thinking doesn't actually lead you to that change. So if you don't do, you're never going to experience the opportunities and the growth that change provides, and you will always be frustrated or exhausted from battling with the change that is happening to you. So by naming the change, taking control of it, and then taking action, you're going to build your confidence and start embracing change. So it's important to remember that confidence is not a lack of self-doubt. It's the ability to acknowledge your self-doubt and act anyway, right? Because confidence comes from doing, not believing. The common approach to building confidence suggests that we have to believe in ourselves in order to have confidence, but that's not necessarily true, right? The confidence follows action, not the other way around. Confidence is developed through the continued commitment to action, to continuing to do things, right, that you want. So when you take an action toward a goal, depending on the results of that action, you adjust and you act again, right? And as those actions lead to results, you develop confidence and you develop trust that your actions are going to lead to success, right? And so that trust is placed in the action. Then the outcome of that is you start to believe that you can do what you set out to do. You believe in yourself. So to get good at anything like change, we have to practice it. We have to do it. We can't think our way into it in some sort of abstract way. We have to get our hands dirty and we have to go in and we've got to just do the work. So confidence is that same way. and change is that same way. So practice it, right? Start practicing it, practicing these 3 steps. And then notice the impact of that change on yourself, on your life, on your business. And then make sure you acknowledge your accomplishment and the badass that you are for navigating that change. So, to recap, embracing change requires you to one, go name the change that you want or the change that is happening to you. Don't forget that part. Number two, identify what you do and do not control in that change. And number three, take action on the parts that you can control. So get out there, embrace some of that change, and let me know how it goes. All right. Thanks. Till next time. Bye.